India, bursting with ambition, faced a monumental challenge. Its cities and transport networks were straining under rapid growth. The answer? New infrastructure, much of it underground, requiring powerful tunnel boring machines, or TBMs. These steel giants symbolized progress, promising to carve out a new future. But where to get them? The answer? China. India made a bold move, buying advanced TBMs from its sometimes adversarial neighbor. But then, in a twist, India declined Chinese engineers' help to operate and maintain the machines. Why? National pride and a desire for strategic independence. India wanted to prove it could stand on its own, wary of becoming too reliant on China. The stakes were enormous. 1 billion people needed better infrastructure, and these machines were the key. Would India's gamble pay off, or would it lead to costly delays and frustration? The nation watched as the stage was set for a high-stakes test of self-reliance. On one side, urgent need and high expectations. On the other, complex Chinese machines waiting to be mastered. The outcome would shape India's infrastructure journey for years to come. The arrival of the Chinese TBMs was a spectacle. Container ships unloading massive machine parts at Indian ports. Media and politicians seized the moment, hailing the machines as the dawn of a new era. News channels showed off the scale and promise of these engineering marvels. The public was swept up in hope: less congestion, faster trains, better connectivity. These machines weren't just tools, they were symbols of a better life. Investors took notice, seeing India as a nation embracing modernity. The narrative was clear. India was investing in the best, and the future looked bright. But behind the scenes, engineers felt the pressure. They knew these weren't ordinary drills, but complex systems with unfamiliar technology. The challenge ahead was daunting, but the nation's expectations soared. For now, anticipation and optimism reigned. The giants had arrived, and all eyes were on India to deliver miracles. The promise was transformation. If only the machines could be tamed. The countdown to progress had begun. With the fanfare over, Indian engineers faced the real test, assembling and operating the TBMs. The complexity was staggering. Layers of parts, sensors, and software all designed in China. The first hurdle? Language. Manuals and software were mostly in Mandarin. Translating technical jargon proved tricky, risking misinterpretation and safety issues. Then came the software. Proprietary, unfamiliar, and critical for operation. Learning it required deep training, but the original developers weren't on hand. Indian teams had to crack the code under immense pressure. Mistakes could mean breakdowns or even accidents. The learning curve was steep, with little room for error. Every misstep risked costly delays and damage. The absence of direct Chinese guidance made the challenge even tougher. Dedicated Indian staff found themselves grappling with a technological riddle. The machines were ready, but mastery was proving elusive. The dragon's riddle was tougher than anyone had imagined. Why not just accept Chinese help? It's a fair question. China offered to send experts, engineers who knew the TBMs inside out. But India declined, driven by national pride and a desire for self-reliance. Accepting help might have seemed like admitting inadequacy. Strategic concerns also loomed. India didn't want to depend on China for critical infrastructure. Security and independence were at stake. The government chose to rely on its own engineers, using documentation and remote support. It was a bold assertion of confidence, but it set the stage for struggle. The path of self-reliance is often the harder one, especially with unfamiliar technology. Would this decision empower India, or come at too high a price? The answer would soon become clear. The consequences of going solo soon surfaced. Across project sites, TBMs stood idle, symbols of progress, now silent. Indian crews struggled with software glitches and mechanical issues. The learning curve was steep and expensive. Breakdowns became frequent, sometimes caused by unfamiliarity with procedures. Sourcing spare parts from China without on-site support added delays. Every idle day meant lost time and mounting costs. Project deadlines slipped and public frustration grew. The dream of rapid tunneling hit a wall of operational challenges. News of stalled projects and rising costs replaced initial excitement. The financial impact rippled through the economy. The savings from declining Chinese help were dwarfed by the cost of delays. The lesson was clear. Owning advanced technology is not enough. Without the skills to use it, even the mightiest machines can grind to a halt. Let's contrast this with China's own journey. China didn't start as a manufacturing powerhouse. It learned, absorbed, and improved foreign technology. Early on, China welcomed foreign companies, sent engineers abroad, and invested in learning. They bought machines, but more importantly, they bought knowledge. Pride didn't hinder their quest for expertise. China's approach was systematic: import, digest, absorb, and innovate. They reverse-engineered equipment, studied designs, and built domestic capabilities. The focus was on building an ecosystem: skills, supply chains, R&D. True independence came from mastering not just the hardware, but the know-how. China's rise in TBM manufacturing is the result of this patient, strategic learning. They played the long game, building deep expertise. The difference? China invested in people and systems, not just machines. A lesson worth noting. What's the key takeaway from these contrasting stories? India bought advanced TBMs but underestimated the ecosystem needed to use them effectively. China, by contrast, built that ecosystem, training people, developing supply chains, and fostering innovation. A TBM is just a tool. Its power depends on the human systems around it. Skilled operators, maintenance crews, adaptable engineers, and reliable supply chains are essential. Without this support, even the best machines can become expensive liabilities. India's decision to go it alone left a gap between ambition and capability. China's approach was holistic, learning from others, then building self-sufficiency. It's the difference between owning a tool and mastering an entire craft. Long-term capability comes from investing in knowledge, not just hardware. The lesson: true progress requires more than just buying the best equipment. It demands building the systems and skills to use it well. The core lesson is universal: advanced machinery is useless without skilled people to run it. Ambition must be matched by investment in local expertise. India's lack of deep technical preparation led to predictable setbacks: idle machines, missed deadlines, and public frustration. The gap between imported technology and operational capability translated into real costs. Delays eroded public trust and created a narrative of inefficiency. Leaders must balance rapid development with building foundational skills. Technology transfer is more than shipping crates, it's about transferring knowledge. True progress requires a willingness to learn, even from competitors. Buying the best equipment is just the start. Overlooking the need for skills and systems can be costly. The price of neglecting expertise is high. But the story doesn't end with frustration. India is learning and adapting, using the TBM experience as a catalyst for change. New training programs and updated curricula are emerging to build local expertise. There's a growing focus on investing in human capital, not just machines. Efforts are underway to boost domestic R&D and manufacturing. The goal: gradually increase indigenous capabilities and reduce reliance on imports. Collaboration between industry, academia, and government is strengthening. The emphasis is shifting from just using technology to mastering and creating it. India's journey is now about building a self-reliant ecosystem for the future. The initial gamble brought setbacks but also valuable lessons. The prize, a truly self-reliant, technologically advanced India, is still within reach.